Welcome to the RV Pro Talk podcast, hosted by Keith Shomaker, co-owner of Redlands Truck RV, and Brad Killgore, owner of Custom Shops Marketing. We created the show to connect the RV repair world, provide trusted resources, whether you're just starting your RV repair shop or you've been at it for decades. Hopefully you enjoy it, and we're here to help. All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's Brad Killgore here with Custom Shops Marketing on our next episode of RVProtalk.com. And I'm here with Keith and Karen Shomaker from Redlands Truck RV. How's it going today, guys?
Good, Brad.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. So Keith and Karen are a brother and sister duo who have been running this successful Southern California RV service center for many years. In fact, it's existed for over 50 years. Their parents started it together, and we're going to kind of dive in deep today of some different ideas and just some real life shop talk of what it takes to run a shop successfully. In this case, as co-owners, and maybe just tell us some stories or some ideas of what you've had to endure, or maybe how you got started with it all, or whatever. You're free to jump in.
Go for it, Keith.
I think from the very beginning, our parents, my dad was an engineer for Lockheed for many years, a good portion of our life. In fact, they wanted to move us and our family to Akron, Ohio, or somewhere. And Kathy and Karen were close to being in high school. So my dad and mom made a huge gamble to become entrepreneurs. My dad was not necessarily an entrepreneur, and he had a very analytical mind. You know, he thought of things as an aerospace engineer would. But he was presented with a situation, and he did the best thing he could for one reason, and that was for his family. And once we realized that our parents made this decision for us, it came later on in our life, I realized that I needed to lock on to a couple of good quality anchors that my parents left us with. And the first thing that I thought of and realized was parents went to great lengths to make sure that we were honest and that we tell people the truth, and that that's how we run our business, with honor. And when there's problems, you take care of it, and you're fair, you're honest, you're real. You realize there's two sides to every story, and you just do what's right. We had a team meeting the other day, and one of the things I told the guys, you know what, if I'm not here, which I'm not a lot on site, and you need to make a decision, I will back up any decision that you make as long as it makes sense and as long as it's right and you can stand behind it. I'll stand behind you. And I think that's what Karen and I, that's what has been left with us from our parents as we move forward. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of things to consider running a small business. When we only have one location, 20 some employees. It's not a large operation. However, what we turn out is pretty amazing. But we can only concentrate on a couple of things, and being honest and being admirable and taking care of taking care of the things that are in front of us, doing stuff right, I think occupy our daily for sure. Karen.
Wow. Yeah, I tell you, as a kid growing up in the business, I remember for a school project, I had to interview somebody that was in business. So I interviewed Dad, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, Dad, I think the question that sustains in my head forever is, why did you start this business?" And his comeback was so simple. He goes, "I wanted to help people." Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. That was
Yeah.
huge. So from day one, that was always apparent. And their handshake agreement to customers was built off of that. So I have to admit that's pretty powerful in itself, and makes me really proud to know that came from them over and over again, because by being able to talk to somebody and look them in the eye and literally tell them things that they just don't want to have to hear because it's going to mean more money or something of that nature, but at least they heard it and they finally saw it, because we'll be willing to share it with them or show them the issue with their brakes and why an airbag does what it does. And if they just never had the chance to see underneath, I think that's what really matters, is that you can talk shop to them, but sometimes just the show and tell is enough for the wife to go, see, Henry, I knew there was a problem. I heard something. I smelled something, and that, so that's the goal of always being able to help somebody, is get to the point, find out what really is happening.
That's just such an epic statement, from your dad. I mean, it carries so much weight to this day, of I have my business because I want to help people. I mean, it's epic. I just love that. I
And
love
I
that.
guess it trickled down because, and I'm not bragging again, but that's what I feel that this is for our fellow business owners, this is just someone reaching out and say, hey man, if you need some help, here we are. And we don't have we're not business consulting experts in the training side of stuff, but we are going on our 52nd year of being in business. And I remember my dad telling us, I was 1972, front lawn. I was staring at a new pickup truck that they got that we still have, 3/4 ton camper special, Chevy, GMC, excuse me. Um, he said, hey, son, we're going to go into work. We're going to fix trucks. They didn't have motorhomes back then per se. And we did. And Karen was there, and Kathy. We have an older sister, Kathy. I'm the youngest. Karen's the middle, and Kathy's the oldest. And there's some pictures of us. We should have taken a whole bunch more pictures of all of us in overalls and working and doing things. And it truly was a family affair from day one.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And so now, after all these years, being co-owners of the business, I mean, that could have its own challenges, but I think you guys have shared with me before that, it's not perfect, but man, you guys are able to go in there. You have you know what your superpowers are as individuals, and you go in there as a team. And at the end of the day, you get what needs to be done, and then you still have a great relationship away from work, and that's almost unheard of. And so maybe touch a little bit on being co-owners for this many years, running a successful service center together.
Well, I mean, the truth is that, and I can speak for Karen. The two of us just didn't screw up. My mom and dad, our mom and dad, our parents did the work, and they handed us something that was successful. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Well, it is an emotional thing.
And I tell people all the time, I said, hey man, the only thing really, honestly, that we've done here is we haven't screwed up. Yeah, we pay attention to our business, and you know, we have to have liability insurance, and it's time to inspect the compressors and those sorts of things. And yeah, let's find a better deal on uh, oil, or let's pay attention to this. And we have a profit sharing for our employees. So, the two of us are in charge of the profit sharing. Yeah, we have help, but it's a full-time responsibility. Obviously, that's a given. But boy, it sure is a joy to know that someone else is out there that I can count on. I can have a bad day, I can have a bad week, and Karen, for me especially, if I've had a bad year, Karen's there, and she's going to take care of me and us, and us as partners, and I will. She knows that I will do the same thing for her.
That's excellent.
Dude.
Sorry for crying.
We're all human at the end of the day, and like you said, by having that level of passion for your business is clear to me, and then obviously knowing you guys for a few years, it's clear to me, and it's something that other people that I've met maybe don't have that level of passion and
Nope.
enthusiasm for their business.
And we know it, and we're lucky. We know we're lucky. I'm going to tell you that luck is such a huge part of what we've been and what we're doing. But Karen and I also pay attention to what's going on, and uh, this podcast and others and other stuff that we're doing, especially in social media, is here to make sure that we reach our target and that we actually connect to those that we need to connect to, and that goes back to exactly what Larry, our dad, said, and that was, "Hey, man, we're just here to help people. So, if
Yeah,
we can be of assistance, let's talk. Let's whatever. Send us a message or whatever you need."
exactly, exactly. Karen, what's your thought after working with your younger brother for so many years? Let's hear your story.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. I do have to remind everybody that he is my younger brother. But the beautiful part is when we were going to college at the same place, Cal Poly in
Mona.
Pomona, I ran across him into the campus, and there was something in his eye. He came right up to me and goes, "I got a plan." Okay. And it was so remarkable because I tell people today, I said he knew even then, as he's always been, a little bragging about him, about 5 years ahead of of the whole scenario of 5 years into just understanding where businesses will go and so forth. But in on that campus, he looked me in the eye and he goes, "I have a plan that you and I are going to not only own the business, but we're going to have it where the growth will be something that mom and dad will be very proud of." And I thought that was pretty unique. And I had no plans at that moment, of course, to want to be in the family business, but always in the back of my head, I knew how keen that would be to be a part of it. And so just knowing, you always were a part of it, but when I set my mind and finally said to mom, "Okay, I've filed everything. I understand why we put this over there, the accounting side of it." I called myself the creative accountant because I had no background at that time in it, but I remember almost like asking the sensei, grasshopper, "I'll tell you what you need to know when you're ready." And I needed to know why we had to do this, all these little steps. And in that respect, it was a full circle. So everything was looked at, everything was thought of. And because you really just can't go to sleep for 10 minutes and say, "Okay, I'll get that done later." Because in business, especially this, you're always having to be on top of things. And Keith has always been able to do that and bring it back into full circle just by being able to be forward thinking and with great ideas and forward thinking into what the future will be like. And I just find that so phenomenal. So I've never doubted him in that respect, never
Sure.
questioned. I just know that you go, "Holy cow, this is going to be some ride." And by being able to know that businesses need to go through all this type of growth and lulls and so forth, it's okay. It's wonderful to be able to have someone to bounce ideas off of. And when they do get some ideas and they go off on their own and figure things out, but bring it back to where you can invite the remaining of your employees to be on board. For us, the word teamwork is the best way to describe our group because that's what you need is teamwork. And so there is no I, of course, in any of that, but boy, there is
And
certainly a lot of
and we don't micromanage, we
process.
do.
Yeah.
We're lucky. We got 20 employees. We have just one location. And I tell people all the time, hey, you know, we better be good because this is what we do for a living and we pay attention. We only have one location. It's not like we have to travel or get on an airplane and go figure out what happened in another state, or hire a new manager or something of that nature. We're very fortunate. So we get it, but we've run across a lot of stuff, and that's the kind of thing I think that we want to share, and we want to make sure that our fellow business owners have access to at least someone to bounce their ideas off of.
Absolutely. Well, and it really, and listening to you guys share, it really boils down to trust, trust in each other, trust in your team, and those types of things. And it's just really cool to see. I mean,
Well, but you got to do it legally too, and here's the other side of trust. If something were to happen to Karen, we have things set up in insurance policies that I can continue to function and run the business.
mhm.
Same thing. If I die or pass away or whatever, it's the same deal. So, there's some functionality that has to happen. Unfortunately, a little bit of legalese, but I she knows that I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. It's going to happen, whether I have to delegate it, I have to go figure it out on my own. Here's the other thing. That conversation that Karen and I had at Cal Poly Pomona, I kind of know where it was. But it was before we had internet. So hopefully that'll help everybody in the timeline. So when Karen came on board, uh, we were using yellow pages for, hey, can we get did Redlands Truck and Redland, it was Redlands Truck Service. Could we get Redlands Truck Service in bold and put it in the Fontana book? Well, that was $1,800 a month or some crazy price for just this simple little stuff. But here we are now, and it's not free, but here we are now talking about what we do for business, and it's the greatest Yellow Pages ad forever. There's probably some people that I just passed up because they never understood or never knew what Yellow Pages was. But as a business, that was our internet. And that was our only line, our only link to a potential new customer was they needed a truck fixed and they went to truck repair and they found us. So,
In the phone book.
in the
Yeah.
phone book. And so I guess this is my long-winded way of saying for any business that's out there, whether you want to or not, get a hold of social media, wrestle that mongoose, do whatever you got to do, but start believing in it and start doing something that's constructive and professional so that you can communicate with your customers. And you know what? Pick an idea like, hey, I just want to help you, or hey, I just want to make your thing faster, or I want to make your thing go off road, or what, pick something and let them know that that's what you believe in. And pretty soon they'll believe in you too. And that's when you start getting repeat customers.
Yeah.
And that's when you got to start looking for another yard. And that's when you got to hire more mechanics or a shop manager. All great problems to have, and all the problems that Karen and I go through, opportunities that her and I go through on a regular basis.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing, you've got to roll with the with the times, and you guys clearly have done that. Working with myself and my team when it comes to modernizing your website, your social media, your ability to communicate with people through chat and text and all the different things, because it's not going away. Nobody uses Yellow Pages anymore. Nobody has a phone book anymore. It's all right on their device that's in their pocket, you know.
And, and Karen and I, if people haven't figured out by now, we're of age where I don't want to learn something new. So if I have to, it's going to be something that's focused and, going to benefit me directly. Uh, and I'm going to proceed that. Otherwise, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to use an app. I'm going to use, a bit of research. I'm going to look it up on YouTube and make it happen. Now, if I have to figure out how to be my own social media person and try to do all that stuff, there's absolutely no way that I'm going to do it. And that's why and we need to count on people like Brad to be able to take care of it for us, because it allows Karen and I to go do probably what the number one thing is for us that our customers see us do, and that is engage them.
Mhm.
Right.
There's
100%.
if someone has not a complaint, but if someone says something about my business, I'm like, hey man, where on this planet can you go and you're going to see one of the owners? And same thing at Quartzsite, hey, where can you go for 8 days and talk to the owner of the business? I'll sit there and talk to you for 8 days. I go to Quartzsite every year and I'm around, but we're lucky, we have one location. Karen and I have uh, an incredible team behind us. None of this happens without a high-powered general manager and a great service team that's in an office and all working together, and a bunch of guys that want to do the best they possibly can, because you know what? They're thinking, hey man, this might be my mom and dad in this RV, it might be my grandparents in this thing, and they know that it's personal and they want to take care of it.
Yeah.
And it frustrates them when we have to bring it to their attention that, hey, you didn't clean up this mess, or your fingerprints are here or there. We don't take it lightly. We expect perfection. We want perfection. That's what we're striving for. We're not striving for less than anything other than that. But we stand behind them, especially when our slip ups come because we got too busy, or scheduling, or parts availability, or whatever. But I hope that the boys know that we have their back, and I think that's probably important for any business, obviously.
Sure. And my personal experience of being around your team, this most recently at Quartzsite, I feel 100% that they know you have their back.
And I gotta
I can
tell
see
you,
it.
I love. I know we talk about it, but I love what goes on at Quartzsite, because they have one thing to look forward to, and that's eating. Everything else is kind of miserable. You're out in the middle of the desert. Your girlfriend isn't there, your wife. The customers are standing on top of you. There's room for 5 and 6 RVs in there, and there'll be 10 or 15 customers walking over you, watching you work. And it's just impossible to get around. And what I've noticed is the guys just go with it. We don't allow that at the shop. It just can't happen at the shop. It's just too much chaos and safety issues and all that other stuff. But it's a beautiful thing to watch all of those guys work together as a team at Quartzsite, and to know that they got to knock this stuff out, to know that tacos are waiting for them, and Nelson did ribeyes for us one night out there, and they were so tasty, and these boys had worked so hard, so it's just a great teammate thing too to see.
Absolutely. No, that was really cool. And I got to experience that firsthand. Um, I would say kind of in the second part of our podcast here is maybe share some ideas, since you guys have been in business so long and you've been through so many seasons of this. What is kind of your strategies or your flow for going into, springtime and summertime and the busier times of the year at your shop?
um Well, thank you for asking. We just met with the guys and our leadership team, excuse me. And I told them, I go, hey, look, this is a new year, and we're going to do things completely different where we need to. If someone says to me, hey, if I say, hey, why are we doing this? And they say to me, because that's how we've always done it, then we're going to dismantle that, and we're going to get rid of it, and we're going to rebuild it, and we're going to do it better. Um, we, for us, inventory is one of those, and I'm probably thinking some of the shops that we're speaking to, they feel the same way. We've got a little bit of a monster that we need to wrestle down, and we need to get rid of some stuff. We need to have a spring cleaning. um, I I approach, not every day, but every time I think about my business, the first thing I think of is like, hey, how could I make it better? How could I deliver more services, or how could we have more return customers? And Some of it is innovation, like, hey, we got to think about something new that's coming out. But usually it's like, why don't we just be better at what we're doing? And I think one of the things that we do, we have a Dan, our quality assurance manager. Really, at the end, he's the last. He's usually the first and last guy you see if you come to the Grove. He's like a concierge. He's like a, he's like your um, he's like your advocate for us. He understands what we're doing. He understands what you need. And his job, obviously, again, like we're trying to do, is make it super easy on the customer. But that was new and innovative, and it's something that the customers love, and it's something that we need. I need to have peace of mind knowing that I have the correct amount of oil in that dipstick when that customer leaves. And have we had issues? Yep. I had a good friend of mine. We did a bunch of work on his coach, and he got into Utah and had our repair came apart because we didn't anchor it down correctly. And it was just kills me. That kind of stuff just absolutely guts me. And especially that it's a friend, and someone that I have to answer to on more than just one phone call or, one solution email. Yep, it all got taken care of. Yep, we took care of it, but it was a huge delay for him. And, I'm sure it's something that he still thinks of. And I don't want that. And Dan, an innovation that came about for us years ago, usually stops that sort of thing. I can't imagine the the issues that we would all hear about if we didn't have someone like Dan being our last
Yeah.
advocate for the customer.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and if efficiency is a big thing for me. I've tried to do stuff with the guys. We haven't done any studies, but I know that we're the one thing that we're really efficient at our particular RV repair is that we use ladders and step stools and that kind of stuff way too much. In one of the areas we use it way too much is awnings and poppers. So what I decided to do was dedicate an area of our RV park. We're lucky to have more room. We're dedicating one area to where we're going to do the work directly on those types of systems, but we're buying a raised platform that will allow the guys free movement, no restrictions. They don't have to move anything. They can be working on two RVs at one time. It's remarkable. It's going to be remarkable. And in the end, it's going to be better for the customer. And that's exactly what we want. So I would say look for ways to innovate. I've been meaning to mention this too. One of the greatest improvements that we did inside of our shop was to get rid of our old piston compressor. Actually, we didn't get rid of it. We use it in a different when we go to quartzite. We got rid of that compressor and we went to a screw compressor. The screw compressor was more money, but it's unbelievably quiet. And
Right.
it produces air that's pure. It's got a heater, there's no moisture in it. It's much more technology. And every time I hear, well, I don't hear it anymore because it's so quiet. But right after we first did the conversion, I was like, man, I wish I would have done this 20 years ago,
I know.
10 years ago.
Just
And
on
that's
that.
what we tell our
Yeah.
customers when we go to do one of their upgrades. Like, hey, don't be like us and wish that you would have done this. Let's do it now so that you
That's
can
so
start
true.
enjoying it. And I got to tell you, for a shop to go from a piston air compressor that's noisy to a screw compressor, oh, man.
Yeah.
And again, your technicians, especially if they have air tools, they instantly look at it and go, "Hey, man, thank you for making an investment in my tool because you're no longer pumping water into my tools."
You're right.
Exactly.
What else, Karen?
So,
What else have we done?
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. And I
Forklift.
think about it and
We
then
have
I
two
blank.
locations. We have two locations, so we ponied up and put a forklift at each so that we can load and unload as needed. Um,
right.
I I just we have a bunch of stuff. If you have an LLC, there's something we have to file. RIOS or something. We have to prove who owns it. So if
Mhm.
any of our businesses are out there that's new, you need to look at that. Um, we do, our shop does it, we do health insurance. So that's constantly under review. We are always working with our local provider. Um, Karen and
401k.
I meet next week with our profit sharing.
There you go.
So we'll take a good hard look at that, making sure we're doing things correctly. We had our guy run an analysis, and apparently he's compared it to several different companies and organizations, and he'll have that report for us next week. So I'm looking forward to that. That's something that we're staying on top of. And our guys, if we're not on them, the messes accumulate. And I've walked around the shop a couple times. I've seen some areas that need to be addressed, and they will. Uh, the guys will respond. They know that it's a safety issue. They're getting a new men's bathroom. We're finished. My guy and I and Karen and Dee, we're going to be finishing that this weekend. They got a whole new section added on, and then we're doing 2 additional sinks, so they'll be able to get cleaned up easier without having to be in everybody's their own way. Just
Right.
making it easier for them and more, hopefully, more pleasurable. I
Yeah.
tell them, I go, hey man, our employees, I go, hey guys, there's times, especially when it's 110 out or raining like it did a couple weeks ago, this job sucks. But if we work together as a team and we band together and we believe in each other, we can make it suck less. And I believe it. And I had to work in it. I was 8 years old when I started there. Yeah, I guess we can all do the math there. I won't give Karen's age out, but hey, I remember smashing fingers and um, uh, pushing water. We had a different shop was in a different location, and water would run through our shop. The rain would come so hard in sheets that it would run through the shop.
My
And it's
gosh.
like, oh, okay, whatever. And I remember thinking that, hey, if we ever build a new shop, we're going to make this son of a gun drain, and that's what our shop does. We have zero issues at our shop, our new place, new 1991. What was that, Karen? 91,
Yeah.
89. Karen made the banner. We did the when we built the shop in 89 or 90 or whatever it was, we had a block wall up, and Karen had a banner, and it said future home of Redlands Truck Service. And I remember that. And it was all, we did it. Karen did the banner, and the guy that helped us with the construction, he goes, hey, can you do plumbing? I'm like, I don't know. And I did.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
can you build a gate? Yeah, okay. I've never done it. We just, and it's the same thing today. It's just, we do say, hey, it's got to be done. Let's get it. Let's get it done. Karen works a whole lot harder than I do, but
Fool you.
here,
Well,
I cheer her on.
Yeah. Don't let them fool you at all.
well, what I hear mostly is, the ability to be innovative, to adapt, to streamline, to organize, I mean, to me, that's the key to it all. And you guys have put in the time, and you're willing to pivot when needed. And like you say, maybe I haven't done that before, but I'll figure out a way. And I think that's what it takes.
Yeah. And it's funny because I can ask a banker, I can ask a new parts supplier, I can ask a manufacturer, and sometimes they're like, "Well, no one's ever asked us that,"
Hmm.
or "We don't normally do it that way." And I'm like, "Now I know I'm onto something here. Right on.
That's right.
Let's explore this." And
That's right.
there's a couple things that are going on that are they're blowing my mind, that are in our future, and that Karen and I are directly involved with. And it's I know our employees can see the excitement in our eyes that this is our time to shine and our time to make and build relationships with our customers. And I know that what we're doing will empower our employees so that they can share that same kind of passion, when it comes time to talk to a customer. Hey, I've told my management team, you know what? I want one of our guys, any one of anybody here, guys or girls, anybody here that has an interaction with a customer that gets a 5-star review and they mention their name on our Google pages, they should our employees should get something for that.
Mhm.
And we're
Sure.
working on that.
That's epic.
We've always not wanted our technicians to talk to the customers, but it's time. It's in this platform, maybe one way to do it, like I've talked about in a webinar, or we can ask and answer questions. But you know, I think I don't think I know that it means a whole lot more a suggestion or a recommendation or a finding or a diagnosis process. It means a whole lot more coming from a technician than it does an owner or your service advisor or something like that. So um, it, it, the only place for innovation is inside of your own business. And if you feel that you're frustrated and that you can't innovate anything, I would say just take a good inward look and don't look outside for it. Look
Right.
inward and find something that you guys are unique and good at,
Mhm.
and brag about it or focus on it or whatever, and let other people fall in love with it too.
Yeah. That's a great analogy and a great suggestion. I mean, at the end of the day, find out what you're good at and do it and let everybody know what you do.
Yep.
Right.
Dance with who you brought.
Yep.
And this is nothing new, but this is not me. I'm just quoting someone else for writing this. I did not say this. Uh, Typically, small businesses, successful small businesses go like gangbusters and they do all kinds of things to get successful. And as soon as they're successful, they quit doing all of those things that made them successful. I can't say that that's been my mantra, but I will tell you that when things aren't going right, that's one area that I go look at and I'm like, hey man, have I not paid attention to something? Has something squirted past me? Uh, am I behind the times? What's going on? So inward looks. And again, everything with a business starts with that person that you're looking at in the mirror. It's you if you're the owner.
Right.
You're the one that has to figure it out. You're the one that has to answer to it. You're the one that has to be brave enough to make a decision that is going to put your business in a different direction. And you have to be able to explain that
Mhm.
so that other people not only believe you, but they trust you and that they realize that it's a vision and that you have allowed them to paint the picture their own way so that they can understand your vision. And I'll be honest with you, it's been a learning process for me. I just kind of assume that everybody thinks like I do, and thank goodness they don't. But I've had to pay extra special attention to make sure that my management team really understands what I'm saying, other than going, yeah, okay, yeah, we get it, Keith. I'm taking steps to spend extra time and extra explanations to make sure that we get what we want. You
Mhm.
know, we're
Right.
we I want to work on a program for our team. I want to work on a loyalty program for our customers. Um, there's a bunch of things I have in my mind, but I don't want to just say to my guys, "Hey, go put this in place." We have to give them our vision, and I feel good about that. And the reason I feel good about that, I'm sorry for being long-winded, is because Karen and I have been doing it for so long on our own that we're the ones that we have to answer to. And I'm totally fine with answering to myself and to her. But um, uh, the opportunities that are in front of us, if we're able to not trip over ourselves by saying that, hey, we can't do this. So, we just don't do it.
Mhm.
I can't get any more customers. I don't know what to do. So you just don't do it. I know that Karen and I look at each other and go, oh man, there's one more thing we got to do. Okay, let's get it done.
Mhm.
And um, in a long-winded circle, I'm sorry, but I really appreciate the fact that not only she's my sister, but she's an incredible partner and that she gets me. And I hope that our other businesses that are out there, that you guys can forge some sort of connection where, both those in charge of managing and running the business get along and they get it. You know, um, we don't ever tell our guys, hey, you need to be a family. We're one big family. In fact, we giggle at it. Families have problems, and our family's no different. And I could count all the other families that we've run across that are wacky and have their issues too. We're not a family. We're just one team that wants to work together to make sure that our customers have the best thing they can possibly have for their motorhomes, and they're safe and reliable and enjoyable. And they had a great experience, and they're going to talk about us at the campfire. Sorry.
Right. No,
Perfect.
no, I mean,
That's
yeah, I mean,
perfect.
it was perfect, you strive
Yeah.
for excellence and it pays off. I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Did you have something to add, Karen? Did I cut you off?
What's so ironic about all that is simply back on that wonderful school campus, the ending result to Keith's conversation, besides the excitement of he and I owning a business together, taking over from mom and dad, was he made a point to say, I want a place where whoever chooses to work for us wants to work for us. And not only will we make that an opportunity where they want to, they're going to start looking forward to it. You'll have people from afar that want to be a part of that teamwork. And I was like, okay. I mean, that was well
Absolutely.
over 1,000 years ago, but I was okay
Yep.
with it because it just sounds and is exactly what I would always hope when someone's telling me their honest truth. And because that's the only way to operate. That's the only way to make sure that you're going to be
Hey,
success, you know?
hey, this work sucks. I'll just make it suck less.
I like that. It's cold hard facts.
I love it.
And I giggle when the guys think about the old days, but man, we were clutches, we were doing brakes, we were pulling 13-speed transmissions out, and
Oh
Guy
yeah.
Hawk, our magician of a mechanic that taught me everything I know,
Yeah.
best mechanic I've ever met. He would be tearing these transmissions apart, and he would be putting them back together with new parts, we got, and it was unbelievable, the heavy, hard, difficult, bone smashing, finger crunching stuff we did on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Anyway,
evolved for sure. And
yep.
and I had the luxury of interviewing some of the folks on your team last month, and I did actually capture on film a lot of real life stories from them saying how much they enjoy their work and the satisfaction of an ever evolving multitude of different work and jobs that come to them because a lot of RVs are different. And there was a lot of satisfaction knowing that and you instilled this in them, that they were helping people. And I thought that was really cool.
But, yeah.
And one of the things that we've asked the technicians to do is consider taking on a couple new job skills. The chassis guys, they don't want to put a new 110 plug in. They don't want to remove a microwave. They don't want to do an awning. But we need to cross over. Guys have to go on vacation, and stuff happens, and we need coverage. Our customers make appointments scheduled on time, and we have to be able to deliver
Yep.
wherever their appointments are. And so that's something new that we're working on, is I guess cross training would be sort of a name
Hmm.
for it. The
Sure.
guys are resistant to it. I get it. And like I told them, I go, hey, our job isn't to change our mechanics, our technicians, our employees' minds of how to do something. Our job is to work with them and find out why it's not working. What's the objection? What's the problem? Can we both compromise here? Oh, and really what it comes down to, and this is definitely something new that we're doing, is spending a tremendous amount more time on communication and sharing with them what it is we expect in 2024 and what it is that we're doing to make their job a little bit better. Uh, and I know that I know that when it comes down to it, they may not say it, but I know that those are the kinds of things that most employees really appreciate. You know, when they see a boss or an owner doing something that makes their job easier.
Oh, 100%. That's really good.
What kills us is the heat. You know, winter isn't bad. It rains once or twice. It's cold, but it's the 9 months or it's the summers that hurt us. You know, that's really what's hard on the guys, especially towards the end of the summer and even outside in the heat, because there's a lot of our stuff. You know, we're not undercover. You know, we're that would definitely be an upgrade, is to put everybody under a cover, but it's just impossible.
Sure, you got too many vehicles to move around and too much equipment and everything else, but
Yep.
you do the best you can with what you got.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I think with that, guys, we'll wrap up for today, but this has been super cool. I mean, the whole goal of our show is to tell real life stories, real life shop talk, and inspire other shop owners to really see what's out there and see what's going on in other shops and learn from some of the best, which I feel you two are. So with that, we'll wrap up the RV Pro Talk podcast for the day, and we will talk again soon. You guys have an epic day.
Great.
Adios.
Thanks so much, Brad.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to the RV Pro Talk podcast. Listen to our show on all streaming platforms and even YouTube. And if you have a question or need a referral, reach out to us. We're here to help.